Richard, appreciate you making time for us this morning. Let's start there. Can you confirm, because I know I had a ton of texts this morning yesterday about it, can you confirm that Alabama transfer linebacker Drew Sanders was on campus yesterday?
Yeah, he was there. I had a story ready to go for later that evening to post, but obviously it got out before that. So, but he was on campus, and from what I understand, and talking to a colleague in the business, I think he's supposed to visit Oklahoma today, and then Texas on Friday, unless something has changed since that communication.
Richard, you can help us out with this because Tommy and I were thinking this to be correct. Classes start at the U of A on Tuesday. Does that mean that him, Jackson Player, Mekhi Wingo, and all these guys that are kind of debating between schools, do they have to come to a decision by this weekend or Monday on where they're going to school?
No, actually, the latest that they can enroll, excuse me, is the 24th. So it's usually about a week after when classes start that you have until the deadline. So the 24th, and because Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, it instead of it being if you didn't have the holiday, it would have been next Friday. But because of the holiday, it's the 24th.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me my entire college career, I went to the first week of classes and I really didn't have to by the deadline? I wasted all that time first week. I could have just, played more golf or been another week of laziness. That's what I did.
Hey, man, you got to accept the responsibility for not knowing that.
You got to know the loopholes, I guess, so to speak. Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to watch the transfer portal, and it's for the most part been bad news, and kind of see some of these guys that do commit and kind of how they fill out the back end of this roster. Run down the math for us, kind of where they're at with scholarships and what's left out there for the coaches to fill the spots.
From what I understand, there's 5 more spots left as far as usage for the portal. I think that's where you are.
Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush. Richard, so those guys that I just mentioned, I know you kind of brought it. You talked more about Jackson Player this past week. Any news on him or Mekhi Wingo? I think didn't he say that he's only taking visits to Oklahoma, USC, and LSU? Didn't he narrow that down? If I remember that correctly.
That's what's being reported as far as him taking physical visits. I talked to him yesterday, and he said that he thought that he was going to do a virtual visit with Arkansas today. I'm sure that they're pushing for for him to come to Fayetteville. But as of right now, it sounds like they're just getting a virtual visit. But we'll see. Then if Jackson Player. He visited TCU, and he wrapped up a visit to Baylor this week, and he told me he'll arrive Friday afternoon for his official visit. So that's where we are with those 2 guys.
Richard, I think there's an Oklahoma quarterback, McCutcheon, or I can't think of how to say his last name. There's also a Memphis safety or cornerback that's entered the portal as well. Are those 2 more guys that Arkansas is interested in potentially adding in the offseason?
I have not confirmed, but I do know that they're obviously looking in the portal for DBs, but haven't confirmed either one of them. They really don't have a guy that's publicly out there that they're pursuing. I know there's been some reports of something like that, but that's not the case. But I haven't confirmed the other 2 guys, no.
Richard, what about this Arkansas basketball team's recruiting class where you not only have it the second best in the country, but you also have all the guys have been McDonald's All-American nominees. Nick Smith Jr., Jordan Wallace, Barry Dunning Jr., Joseph Pinion, and Darian Ford. How important is that to have just those accolades associated with your recruiting class this upcoming season?
Well, it definitely helps, and I'm not trying to minimize that, but there's a lot of guys that get nominated. But you know that a couple of those guys are very serious candidates to be on the McDonald's All-American team. But still, it's just another feather in the cap of the kids and their high school careers, and obviously Coach Musselman and the staff to have all five guys be nominees.
Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush. Last weekend at Bentonville West High School was the Hoop Hall South Classic, part of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. A, did you get to watch any of that online or in person? And B, what was your takeaways from a premier event right here in our state?
No, I wasn't able to, but it obviously was a very good event. And, you had some guys that Arkansas was recruiting, and one of them actually visited Arkansas on Sunday. Osiris Grady, a 6'8", 215-pound power forward from Henderson, Nevada, and he definitely liked it. He called the visit a 10 out of 10. So looks like he's going to try to come back for another visit, but that's always a plus when you have an event like that in your own backyard, and you're able to have some guys in that event that you're recruiting and come visit you. That's huge.
I saw Coach Smart watching his last game there on Saturday after they returned from Texas A&M, and I was talking with his head coach. Then I think the whole team maybe even visited and took a trip over the university because they weren't flying out till later this evening. So not only did he get a visit, I think the rest of his teammates got to see all the facilities too.
Well, that's that's just more advertisement for your program, because those kids go back and talk about Arkansas to other kids, and you never know, there may be kids that in that area that hear that feedback and kind of piques their interest, and they become a prospect later on.
Yeah. And I think that event, my understanding, is going to return next December, but they're definitely coming back to Arkansas. So, next year there'll be more teams, and there were teams in that from, St. Louis, New Orleans. You mentioned the one from the Las Vegas area, New York, all over the country. So I think that event in Northwest Arkansas is going to start getting a lot more attention.
Yeah, and then they had 4 regional type events like that: South, North, and Bentonville was the one that hosted that. And I know Coach Kaufman, the coach of Grady, was very, very impressed with the hospitality, and he really liked how the community supported the event, and just how much they love basketball. And that's something that when you love a particular sport and you're able to go to an event that obviously the host city embraces it, that just makes you feel that much more wanting to come to visit and participate.
That's a great showcase for our state as well. You look at some of the in-state guys and some of the guys that Arkansas has got in their class and committed coming up. We were talking about that a minute ago, but I know Nick Smith and North Little Rock haven't played much as of late. We're starting to see, particularly at the high school level, some of these games being postponed and canceled because of COVID, and might be some changes in the schedules coming up if you're making plans to see a guy like Nick Smith play.
Well, I'll tell you what, this latest variant, I'd gone all this time without catching COVID, but I caught COVID last week, but it was a very mild case. But it's so contagious, and it's obviously just spreads so easily. So I think you're exactly right. You're going to start seeing more and more cancellations probably, and or at least reschedules, and it's very frustrating. But at the same time, I'm also hearing that supposedly because of it being so contagious, they're expecting things to be very good this spring and summer, as far as COVID levels being low. So I don't know. We'll see.
Hope that's the case. Richard, before we let you go, you were talking about a feather in the cap earlier. I'll give you one. How about Darren Ravel putting inside? There's stuff I like Darren does. There's stuff I don't like. But how about him putting out your article? Did you see that? It was either yesterday or 2 days ago.
No, I didn't. What was it? I'm sorry.
He posted your article, man. to like his 1.5 or 2.5 million followers or whatever. So I was like, that's Richard's article that he just posted and was talking about.
Well,
so.
hey, he's obviously a man of great taste.
Oh, I thought that was pretty cool. Richard, we appreciate your time, man. Thanks for giving us insight on Arkansas's latest guys that they're trying to pursue in the transfer portal. And hopefully next week we can talk about a few of them coming to campus.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
All right, good stuff. Talking recruiting, as always, with Richard Davenport.
BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new updated desktop and mobile wagering to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.